All right, are we actually live? I think so. And hopefully the sound isn't terrible like it was last time. I'm not sure if the sound was terrible the entire time last time or just the beginning part, but I did get a lot of comments of people saying the sound was really bad. And ones in the chat the stream is on. I'm never ever sure if this thing is working. Part of me wants to like have an instance of it running, but then you get your voice on like an 8-second delay and it really messes you up. See no ones. Is it working? Fine, I'll just go and check myself. Yes, it's working. Oh, okay. Maybe the delay is like your voice changer works. Yeah. Okay. So I was listening to other content creators read stuff, and their voice changes too. So I don't feel nearly as bad. You have to have like voice actor levels of control to not switch your voice when you're reading, as far as I'm aware. Let's see. Oh, are people getting? Oh, I gotta turn that off. People don't hear my messages. Oh, one of my agents just sent me a message laughing at the fact that I've not figured out my green screen yet. Yeah, I had Brittany. Who the fuck is Connor? I don't know who that is. So I'm not going to respond to whoever that is because I don't know who they are. Also, like if channels have like 1,000 subscribers, I typically don't respond to them because I get like a lot of like, oh my god, this person with no viewers responded to you, and it's like I don't want to do that because it's not really fair to that channel, because usually those channels make like a shitload of mistakes. And 1 second. And he has 50K. Well, we'll see. I don't know. Let me look really quickly. Is it like what type of channel is it? Anyway, while I'm looking at this, my agent was laughing at me because I haven't figured out the green screen, and I was told by Brittany that I had to get a different light for the bottom of the screen to fix it. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that today. That's too much. That's like at least 20 minutes of work, and I'm not doing it. Oh, no. I know who that is, actually. I will say this, is that there was like, this person responded to I didn't watch all of it because his streams are like in 2 hours. So I don't have time for that. But I randomly clicked through it and was responding to, let me just go to the video that was being responded to. Let's see. So I will do this really quickly. And I just don't have times for people who do like, I mean, obviously I did for that one video that I did with the Lugwood thing, but I don't have like time for people who do like Vosh level takes where half of their argument is just insulting you. What video was that? How long ago did I make this? It was, I made it back in like November because I remember doing it. I must be blind because I can't find the video right now. Oh, this is one. This was the video that
why would you see
it was being responded to by that channel. Let's see if we can just get.
Why
I just want the thumbnail. I don't know why it always autoplays, even though the autoplay is off. This one, right? Yeah, it was this video here. So I went over a statistic about transgender people, and the claim in the video was by, where is she? This person here. I think her name was Cindy. The claim by her was that transgender people are just being murdered constantly, or just murdered, and like the suggestion is like in the U.S. Because this is like in California or wherever Jubilee films. And so I was like, there's no way that is true. There's no way that people are that in one of the most accepting cultures of transgenderism that they're just getting killed left and right by people who are bigots. And so I looked at the study that Jubilee provided, because this person, Cindy, provided zero evidence for a claim. She just said it, which is actually very common in the spaces these days. Like if you make a claim like that, you need to actually show where you found that claim and be very specific about it. Not just like, oh, I found it somewhere over here. It's like, I want specific links or like a specific article name that can be easily looked up. Otherwise, it's very near lying. And we'll discuss a little bit more of that today as we go over the OkCupid study, because there's a lot of things people get wrong about that study. So we're actually going to read it. And so the claim was that transgender people were being killed. I said there's no way that is true. There's no way that happens in any significant amount in America. And so I looked at the articles like from Forbes, and it said like 370 had been killed worldwide over the past year, or whatever year they did. Maybe it was like a 2020 study or something like that. And if you look at the regions there was murder, it was like 60% South America. And then if you look at the job types they were in, most of them were a significant amount were either immigrants moving into a country, or was like sex workers. So is it because they're doing things that are dangerous and living in dangerous areas, and they're doing jobs like sex work, which are very, very dangerous, or is it because people are bigots? And that study doesn't prove that. It doesn't prove the claim that people are being killed because people are offended by their lifestyle choices. They're just, they're in dangerous areas, in places that aren't accepting, or it's not happening in America, basically. And so this person went off about like, oh, blah, 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 think before you sleep is so wrong about this specific thing. It's like, you didn't even read the paper. So how do you know I'm wrong? Anyway, that's basically all I have to say about that. Like, I don't like spending lots of time on the Vosh level takes where all you do is insult people and don't actually respond to their arguments. So it's not like that's not going to get a video or anything like that. Unless there's some sort of like overarching narrative like I could create with the Vosh Ludwig and Hassan video, but I don't think there is. I'm not going to like respond to everybody who makes a reaction video on me. Let's see. Anyway, speaking of a common thing, actually, let me read, because I got some super chats. Let's see. Amber Attorney super chat $11. Thank you. Is that Canadian? CA? I just think California when I see CA. Foolishly tipped $5. Do you like Kanabun? That's a Japanese band. It's the one from the Area 51 Naruto raid back in a couple years ago. Kanabun's that band that always gets memed because they're in a couple Naruto intros. Yeah, they're a pretty good band, even outside of their anime intros. Let's see. Cordy up, super chatted $5. Hey, my friend is way into Overwatch. He looks at adult content of the game. Would you say... okay. Tony, please stop playing... Tony, stop playing Overwatch, please. Thanks. Okay, there I said it. Reese MS4, $2 super chat, W stream. Runner Stitch, Martin Corley, $2 super chat. How to get runner stitch or side pain? I don't know that specific thing. Ask a physical therapist. But I will say that if it's a chronic athletic issue, typically you need to fix your posture, fix your form, or just stop doing the thing that's causing it, and that may cause. That may mean you have to stop the activity entirely. Like if you're a marathon runner and you keep getting chronic pain from marathon running, you might have to stop it for like 6 months. But as for a specific athletic issue like that, that's more of a question for a physical therapist. Let's see. All right. Anyway, let's bring this up. I had to bring it up on like two ends, so I'm not looking at my other screen over here. I'm looking at the camera instead. And let's see, this one over there. And then put it up so you guys can see it. Actually, let me full screen this. So after a while of me looking for this study, I gave up on it, and I told Brittany to go find it. And she was finally able to find the OkCupid study, because I read this a couple years ago before it was like super like deleted from the internet. And I was like, the main claim that people say is 80% of women think that most men are below average in attractiveness. And I read that study and was like, because I was looking for like something for a video that'd be spicy information. I read it and I was like, nope, can't use this. And I forgot specifically why, and so I reread it recently, and I remembered why you cannot use this study to make that claim. And so let's just start reading it a little bit. So first of all, talking about research standards and practices, I don't think a lot of people know this stuff, because even in college these days, they aren't really teaching it. Like I had to learn a lot of my research practices, and even I'm not even that good at this stuff outside of school, because I got it seems like too many colleges are filled with people who don't belong there, and teachers don't want to lose their jobs, so they have to pass a certain number of people. And in order to pass those people, they have to use things like multiple choice tests, which can easily be cheated on, even if you don't like know any of the study material for the class. And they have to really, really dumb down a lot of the information. So I got like a beginner's level statistics class when I took stats in school. That wasn't super helpful. But right away, when you look at this study, get over here so you guys can see this. For a sociological study, this study is way too old. Can I make this like boomer size? There we go. It's from November 17th, 2009. That is, 14 years old, or let's say 13 and a half years old. Sociological studies typically have a shelf of about 5 years, maybe 10 years, depending on the material. Certainly, the dating market online has changed significantly since this study came out. So this study is way, way, way too old. Actually, I probably need to keep it boomer size so people can see it. So already, you need to throw out the data here based on that fact. Second problem with this study is that there's no population size. Population size in statistics is typically given the letter N. So it'll say N 10,000, N 500, or N a million, or whatever. Actually, yeah, one of the medical studies that I put up in a video, I think it was one of the transgender videos, had some massive population size, like 1 million people, because it was just a database study of whatever, like, what's that Pyxis, the hospital system that people use. I'm not sure if it was that one, but there's like a place where they record charts. So population, whatever demographic fits our narrative. Yeah. So there's no population sizes in the study. We have no idea how many people participated. So if we're going to make large judgments about people, like what's going to describe the behaviors of a population of 300 million, and we only study 50 people, do you think that's going to be generally true about the entire population, or is it going to be very inaccurate? For a study like this, since it's relatively easy to do, it's just a database, I would want, like, depending on how many users OkCupid had at that point, I would want like at least 10,000 people in this study. They tried to cover up this study after they realized what implications it held. I don't think it really, like, I think it's a lot less. I mean, certainly it says that women care about attractiveness, like, and feminists for some reason have tried to cover that, but everybody cares about attractiveness, so I don't see why that's such a big issue. You shouldn't. You should be taking care of your figure and shape as best as you possibly can with whatever you were born with. And actually, a lot of the things that we're born with apparently aren't as genetic as we thought. Certainly, like the facial structure and jaw has been studied on. I would think, like, also, if you can change if this is true, you can. Everybody likes to talk about Mike Mew and stuff like that, but stuff that Mike Mew is saying on his channel Orthotropics is true. I wonder how much that factors into, like, other bone development. Like, if you have very, like, small shoulders and stuff like that, or a very weak shoulder line, could that be changed through even just lifting or doing physical activity? I mean, obviously, when you become an adult, once you've grown into it, probably it's much harder to change. But is that indicative of you not doing any sort of athletics when you were a kid? And so maybe just doing sports when you're a kid solves that problem. So I wonder how much that is just indicative of not doing physical activity, which is unhealthy anyway. So study is too old. There is no population size. And then 3, you can't just, if you're going to, like, especially with something this old, if you're going to quote and be very, very pointed about this is how women act or this is how men act, and you're using a study for that, you need to have multiple studies that say it, not just one. Everybody quotes the same exact study. Now, would this study ever be repeated in some other, like, would Tinder ever throw out this study? Probably not. So it's hard to say that if this stuff is even possible, because everybody who does research these days comes from universities or comes from a corporation that's super woke. So they're not going to publish anything about this shit probably. But if it exists, then it exists. But as far as saying that one study means that this is absolutely true, science doesn't work like that, and people really need to stop treating things like that. One study means it's a possibility. A lot of studies means it's more of a possibility, but nothing's ever really a guarantee in science. Okay. Let me pull up my double screen here, and so I'm looking at the camera while I'm reading. It says, your looks and your inbox. This is very much written like a Cosmopolitan article. This week we will confront an unfortunate truth of online dating. No matter how much time you spend polishing your profile, honing your IM banter, and, geez, they still called it instant messaging back then. And perfecting your message introductions, it's your picture that matters most. That is 100% true. I'm going to say no studies. That is 100% true. That is just obvious. We're going to look at how your photos affect both messages you get and how successful your outgoing messages are. We all know that beautiful people are more successful daters, but let's quantify it by exactly how much. To illustrate the exact spectrum of looks we're talking about here and to put some human faces in our discussion, I want to introduce a few photos of real OkCupid users. Here are two women near the top of our range. And man, this is old because they have actual screen names. This is like AOL old. I actually think that this is a little bit newer than AOL. AOL is like 2002. So these two, the reason I brought this whole thing up, let me just take a step back a second, is I had a conversation with Brittany Venti, and she was saying, well, I think that the reason that men are rated lower than women on average, or rated lower than average by women, is because they don't actually, or most men don't take care of their appearance to the extent that women do, like significantly to the extent. And let me show some of this video because it's a short and it's pretty easy to show. Okay, is that there?
Statistic of
Why's that so low?
men rating women on
That's still pretty low. It's my speakers are messed up. That's why. Okay, now it's like super loud.
OkCupid, and men will rate women. Statistic of men rating women on OkCupid, and men will rate women higher in attractiveness than women will rate men. A lot of men will take that and try to demonize women, but have you guys considered that men are ugly? Some women will spend
Ironically saying this in like a sweatshirt, that she did it on purpose.
entire days, and this is commonplace, to improve their appearance. They put in a lot of effort to look pretty. They didn't just wake up that way. And yet these guys who literally roll out of bed and scratch their balls expect to look just as good as women who are putting all this time and effort into their appearance. It is hard work to figure out what colors look good on you, what hairstyle looks good on you, skincare routine, appointments for your hair, nails, skin, all that kind of stuff. Some women even get plastic surgery, and yet men just expect to be as attractive.
Yeah, that's pretty much the end of the video. Brittany, people are dunking on Brittany for not knowing who Sublime is. She probably does not know who Sublime is. I bet she couldn't identify one of their songs, but she apparently liked the art on that photo there, or that jacket. Anyway, so even we can exclude things like makeup because guys don't wear makeup. Just knowing the proper hairstyle, knowing what colors match your skin tone, knowing what cuts of outfit that look good on you. Certainly like V-necks look terrible on me, but crew necks look a lot better. V-necks don't work for some reason. Knowing shit like that actually does change how you look quite a bit. Or in the case for guys, being thin versus having some gym gains. Oh, one thing I do want to point out is that in my last video, I was talking about Nicole Raffi and her saying dad bods are attractive, and I didn't notice this until I started editing the video, which is really unfortunate because she kind of flashes this picture across the screen really quickly. Let's do it this way. So when this is her example of dad bods, and because when I do these videos, a lot of times I don't really look into some of the, maybe it's my mistake, look into some of these things until editing, because when I'm doing editing, I'm making sure that contextually there's no like weird crap on the screen, like they're advertising some sort of non-YouTube friendly toy, or I'm not doxing myself on accident, or making sure that if I say something in a study, it's actually read correctly. So if I'm quoting something, I'll make sure word for word it's being read correctly. So I don't typically go over it and fine tune it until the final editing. And the problem with this picture is that I don't think, and people are pointing this out a lot, that these aren't really dad bods. A lot of these are just bodybuilders in bulking season who haven't cut back. Like you can clearly tell this guy's got muscle. Who is this? Is that the Captain Kirk guy? Muscle here, muscle here. This one's not even that fat. That's the Pierce Brosnan or whatever. Like some of this just might genuinely be bodybuilders bulking. Anyway, so I forgot why I was on that point, but more to the argument that person, that the feminist person doing that video did not do very much research on the topic she was talking about. So anyway, as for the stuff about attracting, you can see these girls are probably about as good as they're ever going to look. They have decent camera footage, even though this is 2009. Everybody had shitty cameras. They've done their hair. They're wearing proper outfits. Even this one, these are the girls who were rated most attractive. And then you have the kind of the more mid-range girls. Like this girl probably shouldn't have taken a picture with her eyes closed. But all these girls are pretty much at the maximum of what they should be looking at. Like this is probably as best as they'll look. Versus the guys here, before we go over all this stuff here, versus the guys here, yeah, maybe this guy. These other guys, no. They're not taking care of their appearance at all. Like this guy's photo's bad. His hair is all messy. You can ask Brittany about, is he wearing proper colors? This guy probably needs more hair. Needs to grow his hair out a little bit. This guy probably is the only person who is at his max looks. And so you can see, like, when you take into context and you actually look at the pictures that they're given, and even here it says that, let's see, okay. Website Finder says, paradoxically seems that women have unrealistic standards as the average member of the opposite sex. They're saying, like, I think it's up here somewhere, where, like, the people in the office at the OkCupid who were looking over this, like, these are pretty decent looking guys versus, like, it's not about decent looking, it's about taking your appearance and like, doing the maximum you can do. Because certainly these girls could look way less attractive if they didn't do their hair properly, and if they didn't wear decent clothes and stuff like that. So let's read further and let's find all the bigotry, because that's not the only issue with the study. As for the photos at the bottom of the curve, it didn't feel so. She's just saying that she didn't use the uglier photos. It's like that Hollywood thing. It's like, hey, we really need you to play the morbidly obese ugly person in this video or in this movie. And I've looked at, like, casting calls. Like, Central Casting is a big, like, place to find casting and stuff, and they'll literally say, like, ugly fat person in the casting. So if you're wondering why they have, like, 2,000, no, I don't know. Let's get Brittany's thing on this one. I don't think they have very many camera filters on. This is 2009. They didn't have that shit. This shit wasn't easy for women to do. Yeah. Also, well, paying for professional photos is kind of like, these are like, this one was taken on, like, my friend's crappy Kodak camera that's like a disposable, and these are these are probably mostly professional photos. This one might be a selfie. Again, I don't know why she used the picture of her eyes closed. Mistake. It doesn't look good. Anyway, so the above featured users have, let me make sure this right, agreed to let me post their pictures, so please don't make them regret it. At this point, who cares? This is 14 years ago. Funnily enough, I had to write about a dozen beautiful female users before anybody would get back to me. Life imitates blog. However, I know attractiveness is far from a universal concept. I sort of disagree. Like, you can certainly have universals of attractive, like being thin and stuff like that. But maybe let's keep these folks in mind as we go through the data. Let's start with a simple line chart. The information I'll present in this post is not normalized, because we'll see it's interesting how men and women evaluate looks differently. Let's see, male appraisal of female attractiveness. Let me go down here. You see a regular bell curve here. Let's see. Our chart shows how men have rated women on a scale from 0 to 5. The curve is symmetric and surprisingly charitable, as a woman is as likely to be considered extremely ugly as extremely beautiful, and the majority of women have been rated about medium, and the chart looks normalized, even though it's just unfiltered opinions of our male users. Given the popular wisdom that Hollywood, internet, and Photoshop have created unrealistic expectations, hey, at least she mentions Photoshop, because being thin is not unrealistic, but certainly editing every single piece of your body is a little unrealistic. I've created unrealistic expectations of how women should look. I found the fairness, realism of this gray arc kind of heartening. Now let's superimpose the distribution of actual male messages that guys have sent. Here's one thing that gets left out quite a bit, is that if you look at this chart and you look at this little quote here, most men are messaging the top third of women. So they're going for the top ones and really kind of leaving the other ones by the wayside. This is the distribution of attractiveness, the dotted line here, and the solid blue line or bluish line is who gets sent messages, and you can see this peaking at the top of like the most attractive women are getting most of the messages. When it comes down to actually choosing targets, men choose the Model S, someone like Room to Dance. Room to Dance is this person here. I'm glad we kind of moved out of the area where people are choosing their own screen names. So let me read this so it's easier for me to see this. Where'd it go? There it goes. Someone like Room to Dance gets nearly 5 times as many messages as a typical woman and 28 times as many messages as a woman at the low end of our curve. Site-wide, 2/3 of the male messages go to the best-looking third of women, so basically guys are fighting each other 2-to-1 for the absolute best-rated females, while plenty of potential, charming, even cute girls go unwritten. Isn't that kind of weird, where it's like, maybe this has changed. Again, this is 14 years ago, but they really seem to... This is why I don't think that either they're lying or they haven't read this study, is that this is the exact thing that the alpha male podcast types like to say, is that women are only talking to the top men, and then the study they quote all the time is actually shows that's wrong. It shows that men are the ones talking to the top women. And if you look at the female curve, you can see this is where they rate men, and their messaging curve, so they rate men as below average, but they're still messaging them. They're not skewed towards like this is where the most attractive men are, that they get a far lower percentage of messages versus men where it spikes up. So anyway, let's hit this part of the thing. This is why I say you can't use the study, because it doesn't prove the point that you're talking about. Even if you're rated as less attractive, mostly probably because you're not maxing out your appearance, whereas women are, they're still going to message you anyway, according to the study. Of course, things could have changed because we have things like Tinder and Bumble and stuff like that, where people might have gotten a little bit more prejudice in their opinions of who they'll go out with, especially with like the height filtering and stuff like that. As you can see from the gray, let me throw that up there so you can see it. As you can see from the gray line, women rate an incredible 80% of guys as worse looking than medium, very harsh. So is medium considered average? On the other hand, when it comes to actual messaging, women shift their expectations only just slightly ahead of the curve, which is a healthier pattern than guys pursuing all but the unattainable. But with basic ratings so out of whack, the two curves together suggest some strange possibilities for the female thought process, mostly salient of... That's a college word, maybe not. It's like an SAT word, of which is that the most salient of... Maybe I'm just bad at reading. Which is that the average-looking woman has convinced herself that the vast majority of males aren't good enough for her, but she goes right out and messages them anyway. Interesting there. Just to illustrate that women are operating on a very different scale, here's just a few of the many guys we here in the office think are totally decent-looking that women have rated. Oh, sorry. Let me go down for you guys so you can see it. But women have rated in their occult way as significantly less attractive than so-called medium. Like I said, there's certainly a strong reason for that. This guy is the only guy, kind of bad lighting here too, but this is 2009. This guy is the only guy here. It looks like he's actually wearing the right outfits and maxed out his looks. Whereas I'm assuming they're going for this guy looks like the most decent, not maxed, whereas like he looks like the software engineer. This guy here has got like serial killer face. This guy looks like a PE coach or something like that. Again, like I wonder how much you can tell. Like the odds that this guy's a software engineer is like 100%. There's no way that's not his job. This guy's like the local band guy. Let's see, 2009. What looks. You've made a career out of reading. Technically, I do read for a career, but it's stuff that I've read. You're calling a dude a serial killer for taking a picture. This is like the kind of picture I would take. That's why I went over the stuff about how to smile properly, because there's certainly this one sort of has like the V shape. This is like a very, very horizontal smile, which like this type of smile is like the one that you don't want. You want more to like tilt up, but you have to train facial muscles to do that, so you don't take pictures like crap. And it is possible. So if you take shitty photos, you actually can learn how to take them better. Another thing that women spend a lot of time on that men don't spend any time on. Like you can see here that every girl here has a proper smile. This one's kind of flat. It's not really a smile, but like they all have the correct shape, even though this one's a little bit more horizontal. they're much better at taking photos. Let's see. Let me bring this back up so I can read it without straying too far from the camera. Females of OkCupid, we site founders say to you, ouch, paradoxically, it seems that it's women, not men, who have unrealistic standards for the average member of the opposite sex. Finally, I just want to combine the two charts to emphasize how much fuller the inboxes of good-looking people get. I have scaled the graph to show multiples of messages sent to the lowest rated people. For instance, the most attractive guys got 11 times the messages of the lowest rated women. The medium rated got about 4 times. Let me throw that down there. Graphs get a little bit less important as the study goes on. This graph is also dramatically illustrates how much more important a woman's looks are than guys. I mean, yeah, that's probably true. But it's important for both sexes. I think it's still like how you enter the door is going to be your physical attractiveness, and then everything else is going to be your personality. But certainly if you're online dating, physical attractiveness is going to matter way, way more than your actual personality, because you don't get much personality from instant messaging and a profile about me page. A lot of that needs to be done in person, which is why I always say you should never ever use online dating. Always meet people in person. And if you don't have that skill for dating, you probably also don't have it in other places. So yeah, if you're just kind of staying inside all day, people need to get outside and do stuff. I always figure that almost all women have good smiles because they receive more compliments in their youth. Flattery makes people smile. Yeah, but there's certain like you're supposed to, the muscles like here are the ones that you're supposed to use to smile. So you have to actually train how to do that. I am like slightly below. I was like terrible at it. Now I'm like slightly below average at it. Of course, I have like constant anxiety of having to take pictures with fans and stuff like that. And I have face reveal because of that. So expect better picture taking later. Let's see. Now let's take a look how senders and recipients' attractiveness affect reply rates, not just the number of messages sent. I don't know if this is actually important, like this stuff here. Yeah, it's the same. Women might have self-esteem issues because they're messaging guys they think are below their level. Let's see. I think that's important. Oh, the reason this is so groundbreaking is probably this here. That's something that we in 2023 everybody is kind of aware of because there's not as much gaslighting anymore. How do I put this back up? There it is. Is that it's like, holy shit, attractiveness actually matters. Yeah, it matters for everybody. And anyone who says it doesn't matter is lying. I've literally never heard you laugh. That's because I've never ever laughed ever. Well, there you go. Now you have the answer. All right. Let's look at the chat for a second. Oh my god, I wish there was like a mark and I'd like just like mark off chats I've already read. Okay, Drift318, super chatted $10. Love your channel, keep it up. Thank you. Google Krishna. This is an advertisement. Super chatted $10, thank you. Oh god. Let's see. Ray Osmadu. Is that close enough? Flanco, great content. Get yourself a Cuban coffee. I don't know what that is. Like a Cuban cigar, but it's coffee. Jack Manson, super chatted $5. Hey, I just got here. What's going on? Stuff is going on. Did I laugh? I'm not sure. Someone catch that in the replay. All right. Let me, did I put this back? Let's see. Oh, that's right. I just saw this today. Speaking of the statistic where people were saying that, because they had that thing on the Whatever podcast, which is another like Fresh and Fit clone. I've seen some of it. Maybe it's like the slightest bit more honest than Fresh and Fit. Maybe they're less towards like, hey, let's promote the same promiscuity that feminists promote, but they're saying like, oh my God, women are only attracted to 1% of men. Where it's like, I don't know, if you kind of like do statistics, I bet you if you looked at everybody across the scale, people are going to say like most people are unattractive because they're overweight and like this. Like the average person probably can't do a push-up. So this guy did a little short on. I wish he did. I wonder if there's like a longer video because like
Can you do a push-up? You want to try?
Feel my shoulder.
Okay. Sir, can you do a push-up? No? Who's got the push-up?
because we're not even talking about like massive levels of strength. Push-up, like doing a push-up is like the beginner of beginner level exercises. Like it means you basically don't do any exercise if you can't do a push-up.
BS, prove it. You gotta prove it.
So I wonder how many people said no before someone was willing to try.
Don't park the car. I'm gonna do it.
Okay. Come on, Kim. Hit it, hit it, hit it. Up, 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 up. Yeah!
It actually wasn't bad for her, someone who looks like she's in her 50s or 60s.
Come on, jump in. You can't let your mom show you up. Hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it.
But her daughter can't do it. I wanted to see like if they got any guys doing it, but I imagine that the average person cannot do one push-up. But I don't even think there's been any point in my life where I couldn't do. Maybe when I was like a little kid and really, really, really out of shape. Another $2 super chat from Ray Osmadu. Bro, just order cortiana from any Cuban restaurant. The button is so low. That button is not that low. You should be able to touch your chest to the floor on a push-up. And I'm not saying like I'm super strong. Like my bench is very, very weak. I can bench 135 9 times, and I have no problem doing a push-up, a full real push-up. Let's see. And I don't know, like I think 135 is someone like. Did I save this comment? I think I did. Let's see, because someone was nope, that's a comment about the current school event that just went on, and people saying, I'm glad these people died at this current school event. Wow, you guys are real. Second, if it's like, second it happens at like a Christian school, everybody's like happy that people got murdered, which is really fucked up. Let's see. All right, so somebody posted this. There we go. Now you can read it. People really underestimate how untrained the average person is. Forget about benching 135, which is my current bench. If you can do one push-up, you're already ahead of the majority of the general population, which is probably true, because more than the majority, 73% of people, based on, I think it was CDC statistics that I used in the last video, though if that's not the exact correct answer, then it's in the video. But 73% of people are overweight or obese, and I'm sure that very, very few of those people can actually do a push-up. Can you share a link? No, I don't know. For links to self-improvement for smiling, go look it up on Google. Watch a lot of videos. I shared one in maybe because it's already done for me. I don't remember what video that was, though. It was recent. Was it the fat acceptance one? Yeah, it was this one. It is this one. I gotta move my crap over so people can see it. There, watch this video. That'll help you a little bit. That'll get you started. But there's probably more to do than what's here. Yeah, of course, showing Kanabun at the top. Anyway. So that was there. What were we talking about before? So, what was I benching before? Because I was really, really lazy. I got my squat rack set up, and I was super, super lazy on getting the bench for the incline bench. I didn't block the title. I moved my crap out of the way. Stop lying. So, I think I started out benching after I was already able to do 3 sets of 10 push-ups. I started out benching like maybe 75 pounds. So the bar, is it 75? That seems wrong. No, because I have 5-pound weights. Yeah, I think it was 75 pounds I started benching. And just doing that already had me, like that was already pretty hard too. And just doing that got me at like 195 or 197 or something like that, able to do 10 push-ups. So 135 is quite a lot. Give us a Ben Shapiro. No. There's nothing to flex. I'm also tall, so it's like I can be like stronger than regular people and look like I have zero muscle. because my muscle, the lever arm is longer. Let's see. How long did it take you to get from 75 to 135? You get this great thing in fitness called newbie gains. So you're going to improve. This is also actually probably the dangerous part of lifting weights, is that you're going to improve incredibly fast. So I think that it took me a week to get past 75, and then to get to 135, I think it was about 3 months. But once you start getting to the point where weights are actually heavy, then you got to slow way the fuck down. I mean, like, you're going from improving reps and improving weight every single day you exercise to like, okay, now I'm going to sit at this rep number I'm going to sit at 8 reps or 9 reps for a month, and then I'm going to up it. So when you are lifting, understand that you're not going to be able to sit there and increase the weight 10 pounds every single week. If you do that, you're going to eventually get to the point where the weight is too much, and that's how people get hurt. You need to slow things down. You need to slow things down as you keep increase the weight. Yeah, people are saying that's fast. It might also be because this is not the first time I've weightlifted, so it might be a little bit of muscle memory, and also I have a personal training certification from, what's it? I think NSCA, National Strength and Conditioning Association. I think it's NSCA. It's one of the good ones. There's like 3 good ones, and that's one of them. I also have a degree in fitness. So I've had a bunch of years of yoga, and stuff that you learn in yoga can be easily transferred over to bodybuilding. Like a chair pose in yoga is going to be most of your back squat. A push-up is going to be your bench press, or a chaturanga is what they call it in yoga. That's going to be your... So you don't need to... Somebody wants me to do an exercise stream, like an Amaranth exercise stream. Do I need to get a ball pit? I'm 40 and I worry about getting hurt every workout. Then take things slowly. You don't have... Like I said, people get hurt during workouts because they don't check their form. There are so many videos on the internet that show you how to have good form. So you don't need to, like, spend $100 an hour hiring a personal trainer to learn that stuff. Let's see. $10 super chat from Andre Harry. What is your favorite Yu Yu Hakusho saga and your favorite Yu Yu Hakusho character? I think the question should be what's my favorite Yu Yu Hakusho tournament arc, because that show is all tournament arcs. Probably the Saint Beast arc. That was like everybody says like Dark Tournament, but because it's like a major part of the show, but the Saint Beast one is probably the better arc. And character, I don't know if I really have a favorite character, but I think people who've watched the show and seen my archetype, I'm probably closest personality-wise to Kurama. But I don't know if I have, like, a favorite character in that show. If you're benching heavy, increase 1 rep per week. You hit 12 to 13 reps. You increase the weight and start at that weight with 8 reps. And then go to 12. I think the amount of reps you do really, really varies on your personality and what you like. A lot of things work. Certainly going to 12 to 13 reps is probably the safer bet. I typically do like a drop set, or kind of like a modified drop set, because I think people have done it by 2 reps every drop set, where it's like if I'll go like 6, 5, 4, the first set being the higher number of reps, and then maybe like I'll up it to 3, then like 10, 9, 8, and then if I get 10 3 times and I do that multiple workouts, then I'll increase the weight. Let's see. Something else I want to go over is like there's a lot of things in videos that I go over that don't really oh geez, I need to rewrite this. Just in case it goes on screen. I'm very, very offensive when I take notes, which probably has to change in case I take notes and show them on screen on accident. Yeah, me taking notes on the OkCupid study not having an end value, needs to repeat its study's old. But I never get to talk about like the behind the scenes stuff, or like the stuff that didn't make certain videos. And so there's a lot of stuff that did not make that video. That video. Since people might watch this in the future, let me actually show the video that I'm talking about. The most recent one, the one about Nicole Raffi, who by the way, like, one thing I don't want, certainly like there are some people who are just absolute supervillains, or like the Voldemort type character, like Hitler-esque, where it's like this person's like genuinely a bad person. And then sometimes there are people who just kind of have the wrong opinion, or not the wrong opinion, let's say, that I just kind of disagree with, or they don't really know how to show statistics properly, and that would be probably what better describes.
100% straight.
Oh, that's from Euphoria. Oh my god, that show sucked. Like this person would better qualify as someone who just not a bad person, just someone who just doesn't do good research. So generally what I don't like is just like tons of like, oh, this person blah 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 evil. It's like, no, this person's not evil. She just doesn't know what she's talking about in certain cases, or doesn't do very much research in certain cases. But anyway, during that video, there's like a lot of stuff on because way too many chicks bring up like Edward Cullen being attractive from Twilight. Robert Pattinson's character. Some people not know who Edward Cullen is. Let me just throw that up there because I will say that. Okay, there's something offensive up here. Last time I showed a random picture of an anime character from S.H.I.E.L.D. here, and I realized, oh crap, there might be offensive pictures that are not YouTube friendly of that character, and that was very, very dumb of me to show that character. All right, Edward Cullen, the guy from Twilight. This one, please don't show porn. Okay. Anyway. Nothing says romantic like immortal blood-sucking monsters. Yeah, this if you look at this from like an adult perspective, like maybe from a teenager, and like, I don't know, even as a teenager, I was like, because I watched this when I was maybe 17 or 18, I would have said, this guy is creepy as fuck. Where was I going with that? But I will say that as an adult, because Brittany and I watched the entire Twilight series, I was like, I bet we can't make it through this, and we actually made it through all the movies. The entire Twilight series, we watched that about 6 months ago or something like that. And unironically, the first Twilight movie is now one of my favorite movies, because you can tell that the cast fucking hates that movie or hates the story, and they're just dunking on the writer the entire time. In fact, Robert Pattinson, during his GQ interview, was purposely acting stupid on the. He did a GQ interview recently. Hey, ow, crap, that hurt. I think it's somewhere around here. Where he's like, yeah, I was just kind of like a little bit fucking around during this movie where the director was fucking wrong. Because if they didn't overact it or poorly act it, you wouldn't get great scenes like the baseball scene. Let's see. I didn't look at like what the other actors thought of the movie, but I know Robert Pattinson hates that story. Let's see. Just like one part where like the vampires meet each other. Where is it? Do they have it? Ow, crap, that hurt. I'm sorry about that for people wearing headphones. Do we have like the full scene? Because there's like a moment where like, oh, there it is. Yeah, there it is. This part here. Let me move this out of the way. Like they're purposely overacting in this case, and like where's the part where they hiss at each other? Oh, come on. This is where I should have pre-done this before the stream. That was my bad. I'm not going to sit here and just look for it, but like holy crap. Let me move that back to where it's supposed to be. Holy crap, this was like a super cringe scene. It was hilarious. It was like them trying to imitate anime with emo vampires, and like we could not stop laughing through this entire scene. Why are vampires playing? How do they should have the baseball diamond needs to be like way bigger for how strong and fast they are. What the hell's a Magic Boy quality? I'll just forever the green screen is gonna become like a meme, and I'll just forever ever use it, and I'll just never learn how to fix it. Mic is loud as fuck. Oh, okay. Let me lower that then. I'm just overdoing it from last time. Dio was a vampire. Bob Saget. Oh my God. Speaking of Bob Saget, because Nicole, I didn't close that video, did I? I was dumb and I closed it. So Nicole recommends, was it Jesse Katsopoulos from that show? I can't remember his entire name. It's been a while since I watched Full House. It's talking about like how hairstyles, wearing a dress. Guy was totally straight, totally not a gay guy. Bob Sagat from Street Fighter. Is that his name in Street Fighter? The big guy. Family Guy's a pretty good anime. Well, first, I'm not on Team Edward. Is there any other team that's not Edward? Because like Jacob is a complete cuck and a simp. And if you've seen the end of the movie, he has Edward Cullen as a simp too. Maybe, but he's not a cuck. But Jacob likes children a little bit too much in that movie. Noob Saibot. It's a Mortal Kombat reference. I remember. Is Noob still a word that people know? We used to make fun of that as kids because his name was Noob. Like the double O, because like there's the difference between N-E-W-B versus N-O-O-B. Anyway, so she was talking about how like, where's Jesse? Where's Uncle Jesse? Like the sort of like chatted out guys, or the guys who are like conventionally attractive, or like not what women want, and they want a guy who's more in touch with his emotions. And first of all, she uses like guys who are like bodybuilders that are just kind of fat bodybuilders because they're in bulking season. And then she says like, oh, Jesse's got like the feminine qualities, but she forgets that Bob Saget in that show is the most beta of beta males pod. Like he was what's his name, Danny Tanner in that show. Like he is like the most like feminized guy that you could possibly get in a show, and she doesn't mention him as attractive, but she mentions like the conventional guy, which is really funny. Isn't she the lady who played USC to accept? Huh? Who's that? Oh, this girl. What the hell? I can't remember her name in the show. I haven't watched Full House since Fox Family was a thing. Anyway. Let's see. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to do, is that there was so much shit that Robert Pattinson talked on Twilight. Like, I just feel like I have to show the entire clip compilation. Because I used to have zero respect for him because he was in these movies, but the fact that he is, like, not only hates the character and, like, is very realistic about how awful of a person Edward is and how weird, like, not just, like an axe murderer, serial killer, stalker guy, but, like, a guy who, like, is in the second movie for 5 minutes and, like, Bella doesn't, like, want him or something like that, and then he, like, wants to kill himself. Or, like a very, very genuinely emotionally unstable person. Man in the Dark didn't notice all her... Man with the dark hair didn't notice all his children are blonde. Yeah, maybe. But also, like, notice that he's crapping on this movie. Oh, you guys can't see it. He's crapping on this movie during promotional interviews, which I imagine the studio wasn't that happy about.
Did your Twilight experience turn out to be what you
From
expected?
BuzzFeed.
Oh, when I read it, it seemed like it was a book that wasn't supposed to be published.
It was so long.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah, and we were shooting it forever.
If Edward...
Oh god, if anybody has watched anything outside the first Twilight movie, that shit is like, it's like a 2-hour movie that feels like it's 5 hours. And like a straight up hour of the second movie is a wolf guy fixing a fucking motorcycle for his chick who doesn't want to be his girl, but clearly does not want to be his girlfriend. Seems like a normalish fella, weak wrist. Edward sees an emotionally unstable girl 100 years younger than him. I don't think it's 100. I think he's 108, so he's not exactly 100 years older.
It was not a fictional character. You just met him in reality. You know, he's one of those guys who'd be like an axe murderer.
When you put the bare facts out,
Furry fixes motorcycle.
he tells I had killed 40 or 50 people, and he's like, you really shouldn't, and I want to kill you so much.
Yeah, who by the way, who isn't creepy around children in this movie? So Bella wasn't good enough for Jacob. He had to have Bella's kid. And then a 108-year-old man wants a high school chick. He's 18 in dog year. What? Wait, how does that affect the That's very anime. Like, oh, she's like grows super fast, body of an adult, mind of a child type of thing. It's very anime.
Every single day, every moment I'm with you, I'm desperately wanting to kill you. And she's like, I don't care. I love you. And it's like, well, there's definitely something wrong with her, and there's very obviously something wrong with me.
I was convinced that Stephanie was convinced she was Bella. And especially when she says, oh, it was based on a dream, and it's like, oh, I had this dream about this really sexy guy, and she just writes this book about it. It's like, this woman is mad.
Were you happy
Yeah, someone said his hair's a mess. He keeps messing with it during interviews.
with your pay?
I don't know. Could have been better.
And I hardly get to do any vampire stuff. I mean, I don't get to kill anyone.
My entire performance is based on having extreme discomfort, having contact lenses in your eyes, just kind of like that the entire time.
Why did he take the role again? He actually says why he took the role in the GQ interview. He did Harry Potter and plays a character who dies, so he didn't get to get multiple movies. But he spent all the Harry Potter movie money, and he was like, "Fuck," and then he got Twilight.
He's like ultra polite, really formal all the time. Like, let me open the door, let me carry the bags. It's like literally.
Oh man, I should have preempted this. I forgot about this. This is one of our most hilarious scenes in that movie where Bella is getting out of the car and she's about to open the door, but he like super vampire runs and opens the door for the car for her. Another thing I wish I preempted for this video.
You could just tell he just freak out one day and shoot someone. It's kind of a mixture of looking like slightly constipated and stoned.
There's one more thing from this I want to show. I just don't remember where it was.
It's quite easy to achieve.
He's like, what am I doing with this kid? I'm 108 years old.
There's a lot of books.
At least the actors are acknowledging that. Like, it seems to be like this whole vampire thing where, at least in the early 2000s, it's like Buffy the Vampire Slayer is with a guy who like looks like he's, I can say this, looks like he's 17, but it's like David Boreanaz who's like 30 in that show. But he's like a 200-year-old vampire with a 15-year-old.
In the Cullen household, but
So I'm glad they mentioned that. But nobody seems to like who's the guy who plays Jacob? The guy who plays Jacob was like, hey, isn't it like a little bit weird that like I want Bella's unborn child? And they sort of like say that in the movie, but like they don't really address it well enough. That this is just like a grooming relationship. It's like, no, I've imprinted on you.
know what to
I guess Rainforest 70-mile-per-hour piggyback ride. Wouldn't that kind of hurt?
expect when you're expecting a.
Like someone was like, oh, here's the they're talking about. This is what I was looking for. Because he's like, this shit is just so stupid. Like, how did this get published? This is like female level porn getting published as an actual movie.
There's a lot of books in the Cullen household, but know what to expect when you're expecting a half vampire child.
No, they look on Google Images. That was one of the funniest scenes I've ever had to do in my life. It's like, really? We're all like 300-year-old geniuses, and we just go, it's like, vampire baby, like, on Google Images. And, yeah, that was our research into it. It's like, I can't find anything! For Rob.
To be fair, I think it was like Yahoo or something like that. It's been a while since we watched the movie, though. But I thought that was just so stupid. Is there any more in this?
Is that correct? Robert, R-Pats?
Anything.
Anything. What do you think of R-Pats, actually?
I would like to break the hands and mouth of the person who came up with it.
Which one of your coworkers helped to make your Twilight experience the most rewarding?
Let's see, fan fiction of this movie franchise. Also, oh yeah, I haven't watched what's that? 50 Shades of Grey.
My
Girls like DILFs, apparently.
Oh, I can't think of anything.
Oh, another contradiction to Nicole Raffi. She's like, I wish that guys would like mom bods, and people were like, hey, do you know what a MILF is? So another people, man, we're just bringing up a lot of things I didn't think of for that video in the comments, which means that the original source video was very, very poorly thought out. Another reason why you don't want to try to do scripted level content off the top of your head, because it's very, very easy to get shit wrong. Dude dunking on 50 Shades of Grey would be funny. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to watch. Is it like boring like Twilight? Like Twilight was so damn boring, except for the first movie. The first movie was great. I think the first movie is genuinely a 9 out of 10 because it's so bad it's fantastic. The term's zaddy. What the hell is that? But holy crap, I had to watch so much boring content and so much cringe content for that Nicole Raffi video. It was ridiculous. I had to sit here and I was like very, very much face palming through the entirety of Euphoria. See if I can pull up some sort of graphic so you have like a. How do you spell Euphoria? Let the Google spell it for me. Let's see. No porn, no porn, no porn. Let's. Okay, perfect. Now you got some images and stuff like that. What I thought was funny, her example. Okay, I need to like turn safe search on or something like that so I don't get this crap on YouTube. Let me just go through like every image to make sure nothing's, because this show has a lot of adult scenes in it, which was really funny because something that I cut out of that video was Nicole complaining about characters being overly sexualized or a female character being overly sexualized when it's like half the show is sex. So how do you get overly sexualized in a show that's just about that? But oh my God, between this and Lady Bird and Yes God Yes, are just stories that have zero plot whatsoever. Like you've got characters, like you've got like the chick who's kind of a hoe. You've got the transgender person who also has lots of sex. You have Zendaya who does basically nothing in the show. You have her former best friend who does nothing. And then you have like the serial killer guy who gets the crap kicked out of him in season 2. That was kind of funny. You have like this girl who's the obese chick who like for some reason gets like an unusual amount of attention. And like, I mean, half this, like there is zero, like there are no characters who you can really attach to. Everybody's an asshole. Where it's like, I don't know how, like these two, Zendaya and Hunter Schafer are in like a relationship, but it's like, oh, this is such a cool couple, but like Hunter Schafer's character Jules cheats on Zendaya like 3 different times in the show, and they're like, oh, but I love you, and they don't seem to like realize that shit. White Lotus is a great show. Is that on HBO Max? But like, I don't know where it is in Hollywood these days where they think they can just get away with so many stories. And oh my God, speaking of all the DC movies, was it all of them? I think it's at least, maybe not the first Superman movie with Henry Cavill. Maybe that wasn't that bad. But all the Zack Snyder superhero movies are just fucking terrible. There's zero plot to any of them. And speaking of my new haircut, I'm so glad to finally get someone to agree with me on this. But we made Brittany and I made a little trip down to the Neurotic household this weekend so that we could both get our haircut. Because I don't know if people know this, but I don't know how much crossover we have. Let me show the channel just in case people know who Neurotic is. He had some drama on his podcast where Gavin McInnes exposed himself on the podcast, which was made me lose all respect for Gavin McInnes, the little that I had. Anyway, this channel here. There we go. Anyway, so we had a little visit, and we were talking about the hair look. So when his wife was cutting my hair, she's like, I'm gonna cut it in such a way to where you basically have to do nothing to make it look decent. And I basically did nothing, so hopefully it looks decent. But where was I? We were talking about the Zack Snyder superhero films, and I was like, oh my God, Batman versus Superman takes like an hour and 5 minutes or something like that. So speaking of at the time of the stream, it takes over an hour to start, and then sort of a plot develops, and then it just goes away. What was it? Justice League takes forever to start. I think literally also like an hour before anything interesting happens, and then when the interesting thing happens in the Justice League, they're so like genuine, predictable superhero movie with no attachment to the characters. It's like, I don't even know how this movie got a 7 out of 10. This movie's like a 5. But Euphoria very, very much has that same sort of thing where it's like you have characters Zendaya's like a drug addict. The female written episode was written by a transgender woman, so is that really a female? That was funny. That was like the best episode. Like Nicole's whole point was that like men can't properly empathize with women, so they can't write female characters properly. And her favorite episode was written by a man. So that was funny. Does Martha Stewart have a rosebud? Someone's spoiling Citizen Kane. Setups and payoffs aren't cool now these days. They're so last year. I had so last year. Like this Batman versus Superman was like 2015 or something like that. Hollywood's been doing this shit for a while, where they just have no plot whatsoever. And so we were talking a little bit about Euphoria because both of them, Gary Nerdrock and his wife, had watched it and kind of had the same opinion. Where it's like, hey, none of these characters are likable. Maybe like the most likable character on the show is either the drug addict, which I watched 2 episodes of season 2 last night, and drug addict is still the most likable character. Or no, drug dealer is still the most likable character in that show because everybody's so horrible in it. And maybe like Zendaya has a sponsor. Holy crap! By the way, speaking of how much crap Hollywood gets wrong, she has a sponsor who is a male in Alcoholics Anonymous, which you is absolutely 100% not allowed. You always get same-sex sponsors. Primarily because they don't want relationships forming in AA. You're not supposed to have relationships, or you're not supposed to have sexual relationships from addiction treatment because that's a great way to get back into drugs. Same thing with like no new relationships. They're already breaking the no new relationships for a year. So this whole relationship with her and the transgender character is completely against her recovery, and so of course she keeps relapsing. But maybe that's kind of the point of the show. Bella's pets wolves without CGIs. It sounds like pornography. Maybe I'll look that up in a minute. And so there's basic plot structure. You can learn this from a book called The 22 Laws of Storytelling, or The Anatomy of Story. Yeah, I think it's called The Anatomy of Story. I forgot who wrote it, but I've mentioned it in a couple of videos. This is The Anatomy of Story is a very, very popular book, and the first thing it tells you is write one sentence that just, or one to two, preferably one. Write one sentence that describes the direction that your movie is going and what's the main idea of the story and why would people be interested in this, and then you write everything around that one central premise. By the way, every decent video you see on YouTube also follows that rule of a single central premise that guides the story forward. I could not tell you what that is in this story. Like, there's all these characters doing anything, but like, okay, so this story, like Tyler the psychopath here is like, he's got a dad that records all of his encounters with prostitutes, and some of those prostitutes are underage. Actually, is there any relationship in this show where there's like not an adult with a minor? Like, there's a lot of them in this show. It's really, really weird that it's like all these people. No, I'm not fixing the green screen. All these people are like this show, and they're liking a show where everybody's a drug addict, everybody has thousands of sexual partners, and a lot of the characters are really creepy around children. The green screen is memed into existence. Maybe. But like, so the sort of storyline develops where Tyler the psychopath is trying to protect his father. His name's not Tyler, his name's Nate. He uses like a Nate. This guy is trying to cover up for his dad, and he finds out that the transgender person had a encounter with them, and it was on film. So he like blackmails the character into not talking, and then some sort of weird plot forms around that. But then they just give up on it. It's like it's just gone. And anything else is just people just doing random crap. So you can take this story, and then while we were at the shopping, what can you shop and buy? Please don't. This is probably a bad decision. Oh, okay. Should never click on Google Images with shows like this. I'm checking them first. Oh, I forgot to download this. Let me just find it on YouTube instead. Usually I like to have everything in my limited streaming experience. Everything all downloaded in a folder so that I can just click on it and get going. So the difference between good storytelling concepts versus bad storytelling concepts. While we were at the Nerdrotic household, by the way, there are certain people who I say are, like, everybody's got their favorite creators, but it's different when you've actually met some of the people that people like. And there are plenty of creators out there, a lot of them out there, that are completely not who they say they are. Like, they preach a certain set of morals, and they're the complete opposite of those morals, and they're clearly just doing it for money. So there are plenty of creators like that who are actually, they pretend they're good people, but are actually horrible people. I would say that, see, Brittany and I have known the Nerdrotic and Geeks and Gamers people for quite a while now. Gary from Nerdrotic and his wife are quite possibly some of the nicest people in person. I think Gary is probably nicer in person than he is on stream. He's already pretty cool there. So they certainly know how to treat guests, and it was certainly a fun stay at their place. But we watched this random show called The Night Agent, which is definitely, like, not the greatest show in the world, but it gets the storytelling principles correct, and it's a very memeable show. Like, let's see if I can get this without an autoplay. Okay. So let me show the trailer and show some of the main premise of the show, and show what was funny about it. Let me just put this on full screen. How loud is that? That is very quiet.
The FBI is the United States premier law enforcement agency.
So it's a show protecting the FBI, like in 2020. Does it just come out 2023 when everybody knows the FBI is full of, like, really, really bad people?
Ma'am, please take my seat. We have a zero-fail mission to uphold, which means that we expect nothing short of perfection.
FBI, I need everybody to exit the train.
So let's get past this. So anyway, he gets caught on a train that explodes, and then he gets accepted into a new job after the train explosion. Let's hear what this new job is called in about 10 seconds.
Administer your oath.
Welcome to the White House, Peter. Have you ever heard of Night Action? It's a top-secret investigative program within the FBI.
So whoever named this show decided that they would call their secret organization Night Action, which I thought was fucking hilarious. And we couldn't stop laughing the whole time because they say, like, it's like, do you know what Night Action is, or have you ever seen Night Action? That does sound very sad. I don't know how they said this shit with a straight face, because they have to say Night Action several times in every episode, and immediately, I think Gary was, like, in his office doing some Nerdrotic crap, and, like, he came out and he saw one of the scenes where they say Night Action and just started immediately laughing. So this show is obviously, like, not the greatest show in the world. The naming conventions are weird. There's some other memeable stuff about this. Like, they say fuck, like, constantly in this show, but they never say, like they do, like, fuck, shit, and goddamn. They do all, like, the harsh swears, but they never say any, like, soft swears like hell or damn. And so we got to the point where I think we stopped on episode 6 or 7, to where we only heard the word ass once in the entire show. So a very memeable show. And where's my Windows? Oh my god, was I stupid and closed it? Anyway. So, not the best show in the world. This show is a million times better than Euphoria, because it follows a basic plot point and then guides all the scenes around it towards that plot. Whereas shows like Euphoria, shows like even movies like Batman versus Superman, there's, like, a lot of scenes that don't connect to the central premise of the movie and can just be removed. I think actually the most perfect example where no scenes are wasted is probably The Lion King. Like, every scene in that movie is essential, not the live action, the original movie. Versus, like, there are so many shows these days that have scenes that can totally be deleted from the show and not change the plot. Like, Euphoria is so bad that you could remove Zendaya, who is the main character in that show. Let's go back to Zendaya, just in case you haven't seen Spider-Man. The main character of that show, you can remove her entirely and not change the plot whatsoever. There's, like, a small thing that would change if she was taken out of the show, but it can easily be filled in by a different character. Like, that's how you know it's terrible writing, is if you can remove major characters from the plot and not have it changed. Let's see. Night Action Plus. Let's see. What's Top G? Never heard of that. Oh, I haven't read super chats in a while. Let me throw that one out there. Ken Sharkley, $10 super chat. Love your content. How did you get your background in psychology? I read a lot of books, and I listened to shitloads of people. Like, probably the most important thing in psychology is just listening to lots and lots and lots of people and hearing how extremely similar everyone is. There's only like a handful of archetypes, and once you kind of hit that, you can kind of see, okay, this is the problem that's happening here and stuff like that. So people are very, very predictable. Have I watched Andre Harry super chat $5? Have you watched White Lotus? Great show. No, I have not seen that. President Irina of, oh my God, Putin, is that some Russian joke? $10 super chat. I'm a trucker trying to stay healthy, but I'm limited on what I can prepare out here. Would frozen food cooked in a microwave still be healthier than fast food? Yeah, if we're talking about ingredients and stuff like that. But if it's frozen food from like a truck stop, then the answer is no. You basically, the way you determine the health of the food is not by the calories. It's actually sort of, because if it's got like a ton of processed sugar into it, yeah, it's not going to be that great for you, or tons of processed oils. But the way you tell the health of the food is by looking at the ingredients. And so if I flip over a box and it's got like a college dissertation amount of ingredients, like it's got like so many ingredients in, like you get bored reading them, that's probably not going to be very healthy. Typically, you don't want more than 5. It really depending on what it is. Like if it's like a burrito that has like red sauce on it, it's probably going to have more than 5 because you have the ingredients in the red sauce and the ingredients in the burrito. But you want to hit as few ingredients as possible. The easiest way to do that is to get the store brand of the product, or as long as it's not Kroger. Kroger is like horrible with their store brand. They put high fructose corn syrup and everything. The store brand of the product is typically not that organic food is higher quality. I messed my hair up. I think I did. Whatever. I'm probably too dumb to fix it live on stream. The benefit of buying organic, especially when you buy processed foods, not that the food is higher quality, but typically the organic foods don't allow a lot of bad ingredients in the food. So you're going to be safer on that. But typically, especially if you're doing trucking, which means you're sitting down a lot all day, it's like a desk job, like computers, probably the most healthy thing you could do is don't eat too much and then exercise. Organic is very overrated. They still use pesticides in organic stuff. They just use approved pesticides like neem oil. If you eat something with neem oil on it, it will adversely harm your health. They have another organic pesticide called, I think, pyrethrin, which comes from like a flower extract. It's just basically a plant oil, which is like still a highly processed product. And like Bayer makes like the most used organic pesticide, when Bayer does all the synthetic shit too. Make your own butter, yeah. Yeah, like organic is a very, very loose term. Like it's not like it's super healthy. The best thing with organic is that they're not allowed to use a lot of the more like horrific ingredients, and that's really the only reason to pay more for it. But if you're paying like 5 times the price for organic, I don't think it's worth it. I think maybe in that case, try to find a farmer's market or something like that where you're talking to local growers and then talk to them about how they make their food. But farmer's market's probably the best way to go with it. I got organic peanut butter with palm oil in it. Yeah, I remember at Whole Foods, I think it was the 365 peanut butter. It's like if you buy the organic, it has added sugar in it, but if you buy the regular, it doesn't. It's like what the hell? The regular peanut butter is healthier for you than the organic one. Don't forget about all those endocrine disruptors. Yeah, I guess. There's plenty of low-effort women on dating sites. They still have expectations that are a little bit more unrealistic than men, if I had to guess. Well, we really need someone to study that, especially when there's data that would go against confirmation bias of the entire manosphere. From a study that they quote all the time. It's like, yes, women don't think that men are as attractive, but they still message them. They message them at a higher rate than men message women, at least in that study. I'm sure it's changed in 14 years. But people should not be quoting that study. It's too old. What's the next topic? I never tell people what my next video topics are. Those are in the safe. Actually, that's one of the things I was afraid of with live streaming was accidentally exposing the next topic. But there's plenty of ways to not do that on accident. Did I have any more notes for this stream? Oh, yeah, I did. I have to go off camera for that, though. I don't want to do that. I just remember, like, some of the things that didn't make it into the video were, like, I wish I could have made that relevant, but the script was getting way too long. It's like, this is not that important. This is more of a lower value point than the things I have in there. Because when you're script writing, you want people to watch. You kind of like gauge what's interesting and what's not, and then take as many high value points as you possibly can, and only put low value points in there if they're necessary for the story, if it's necessary to do that to kind of tell about the person's character. But this one didn't make it. Is that she Nicole said that she read a lot of a magazine called Women's World. Actually, this is so. I was dumb and didn't read this. Let me just put the screen off for a second, and I'll get the magazine. It's like right behind me. Okay. It might be stupid of me because I did not take the time to actually read the article, but the headline is dumb enough. And I've read enough of the Women's World articles to know that most of them are full of oops, let's see, put that there. Move that. Okay. So this magazine here, and where's it on the front? Just so people can go back and read this. It says this part here. Oh, God. Oh, my God, the back of the magazine. One of the things I was looking at is that every time I go to the store and I hit this section of the store, is like you look at the adult diaper section of the store and like how like you got to be the person who does this ad. And they're like smiling. I think some of them were like very self-aware. I took a bunch of pictures of it. I don't know if I'm going to put it on a stream because I have to take it off my phone. But like the people, because like as I'm lifting, I didn't actually look at the back of the thing. I'm seeing like the pens thing, and you got like the guy with like the smile doing like the hands on the hip with the adult diapers. I always think those are funny, and like I wonder if they do any sort of ads around that. Anyway, on the front. See, oh, actually, I didn't even read the biggest headline here. It says, feed your cravings, drop 2 pounds a day. And I remember, a lot of people don't understand this about weight loss. They'll do like cleanses and stuff like this. I remember like they had this like colon cleanse potion that they would advertise all the time on TV. And it's like, people who did this cleanse dropped 10 pounds in one day. And the reason that they're dropping so much weight in one day is because they ate a shitload of food and they took the little potion thing and they crapped it all out. They're not actually losing 10 pounds of fat. And so when you lose like 2 pounds a day, I think even if you're anorexic, you wouldn't lose that much weight. Because what, you're burning 2,000 calories a day? Desperate for a modeling job? Yeah, basically. I don't know why they show their faces on the diaper ads. Why don't they? Because like if you look at tampon ads, they don't show their faces a lot of times, at least the ones I've seen. But like why do they show any of these people's faces? Think before you sly laugh. Water weight, yeah, also that you can pee out the weight too. Like if I was trying to fake things, and by the way, these weight loss commercials and shit like that, they fake shit all the time. Oh jeez, especially, oh my God, these people who are like attacking sponsors and stuff like that. Like I found that Skillshare isn't like as great as YouTube, but Lauren, it's like it's. Oh my God, another thing I talk about with creators. Like, it is so hard to get sponsors. Then you have all these people who don't get sponsors, shitting on sponsors that are like halfway decent. And one of those is Skillshare, and basically their main point was like it's not as good as YouTube. It's like, yeah, well, if I have a if a Ferrari exists, and then also like a Nissan, let's say Toyota Corolla, does that mean I can't advertise the less efficient Toyota Corolla because a Ferrari exists? Skillshare being a major sponsor of YouTubers. And then like people shitting on sponsors would be like, this sort of is like not exactly what it says. Think of like what mainstream media does, where they advertise weight loss pills, boner pills, real estate scams, life insurance scams, like all the scams that TV advertises that none of those people ever talk about. And then people get shit on for advertising a product that is like maybe a little bit too expensive. 30 pounds in a week. If you're losing 30 pounds in a week, you're crapping out food. There's no way you can lose that, even if you didn't eat. Skillshare is very focused and professional. I think it's worth it. Or people who are stupid. By the way, when you make these types of ads where it's like, oh, let's say I did an ad for Skillshare and then I shit on the sponsor a year later, sponsors look at that stuff. And when they look at that stuff, they're saying, oh, well, this YouTuber did this. How can I trust this other YouTuber over there not to talk crap on my product that I gave him money to talk about? And so a lot of YouTubers and jealous YouTubers like their own worst enemies. But anyway, so when they sell those weight loss pills and stuff like that, which are the biggest fucking scams, so they'll say like, I remember one of them. If someone remembers this ad, what are you talking about? Raid Shadow Legends is the best game on the planet. And I totally didn't do that sponsored as a meme. So, does anybody remember this ad? This was from a long time ago. It depends on the age of my demographic here. But they would advertise this pill that was for weight loss. And let's play it. If it is, play it right now. I'm not playing Raid Shadow Legends on stream unless they pay me to, which they offered. But I don't know. Some of those they want so much specific crap in those mobile game ads where it's like, it's just too much work. I'm not doing it. Anyway, but if anybody remembers this ad, it was like a weight loss pill ad, and they were like, seriously, bro, like if this weight loss pill didn't work, we wouldn't charge so much for it. Like that kind of bullshit where it's like, we're gonna make this expensive so people believe it's real. But oh, someone says watch John Doyle. Speaking of people who aren't who they say they are, that's a story for a different day. As someone who is definitely not who he says he is. Can this be heard on stream? This pisses me off. So they were like, it's so expensive, it must work. But I realize like a lot of times they just Photoshop people, or they take people who are morbidly obese and then find someone who's thinner who just kind of looks like them. And then they say that's their weight loss. Or they take people who are like professional bodybuilders, have them bulk, and then have them cut. And that's their weight loss. So, like they lie all over those ads. And so when anybody's saying like you can lose 2 pounds a day, it's like, oh, lose 2 pounds a day for like 3 days or whatever. And you can certainly do that. You can certainly do that by just crapping the food out that you ate previously. So anyway, and the other one says, Hungry Girl, maybe this is part of the same thing. Hungry Girl blogger Lisa Lillian shares secret ingredient comfort food that totally satisfies as it boosts fat loss by 725%. What the fuck does that mean? Brittany, do you remember what page this was on? Because I showed it to you earlier. Did John Doyle come out of the closet? I don't know, did he? Sounds like fat accept. I don't think this would actually not be fat acceptance stuff. It's just scamming people with fake weight loss advice, trying to have like Brittany must not be watching. I don't know why these stupid. Oh, they probably don't say the page number because they want people looking through the magazine. I make $100 a month with my podcast. Wow, she's not very successful. What's this one here? I can't believe they're talking about podcasts on old media. What's she got to say? One day in the fall of 2019. Wow, you've been doing this since 2019. You're only making $100 a month. You need to quit. Like, if you're good, this should be a job. But by 4 years, this should be a job by now. I'm not saying you need to make $1 million a year, but like you should be able to support yourself on your podcast if you're doing a good job. And this year I earned about $1,200 and a small amount from, she must have been good. She must have, like, when you're a small podcast, you basically get raked over the coals by sponsors. Like we'll pay you $1 per sign up or something. Like we'll pay you $50 for the entire ad. People are asking. I don't know. It's not really my story to tell. But that's certainly a person I will not work with because I know people have said things personally. Same thing like Mile Yiannopoulos. Everybody talks about, says like never ever trust Mile Yiannopoulos if you're in a room with them. Like Lauren Southern was like the first one to expose that, but like something that people generally know in the industry. Let's see. Wolfsbane, $5 super chat. The main problem I have with Euphoria is that all the characters are in high school when I feel like most of not all the story could have been done in college. Yeah, high schoolers don't act like the people do in Euphoria, especially these days when nobody ever socializes or goes to parties. There's like a party every episode or some shit. Who's savvy writes books? Tubby, $5 super chat. Shout out to my boy Patrick Thorpe. He's a national rowing athlete and that loves your videos. Who is that? Maybe it's just like, is he like a YouTuber or just a person that you know? Looks like just a person that he knows. Any tips on procrastination? Don't. Yeah, the source is just trust me, bro. Even actual Justice Warriors signed off on Doyle? Really? Is it Hunter Avalon, actual Justice? That's too much to do on stream. People keep stop asking me about Andrew Tate. I've addressed Andrew Tate like in every fucking stream. No, he's the same shit as Fresh and Fit, where they're literally promoting the same bullshit that feminists promote and just saying it's okay for men to do things, but women's not okay. Just like feminists say, oh, it's okay for women to do things, but not men. Besides the magazine, did you pick up a TV guide? Who the hell watches TV? What's a thug shaker? It's a song. It's a dance. Is that Filthy Frank dance? Or was that the floss that everybody... Was the floss the one that Ninja did at the New Year's event and got no one to do it? And that was hilarious. Let's see. I got XQC doing the Thug Shaker. Let's see if I can put that on screen for you guys. That seems like a very, very dumb dance. Filthy Frank was the Harlem Shake. Wasn't it the floss? So that's not flossing, that's Harlem Shake? Anyway. That was just funny. Like, people assume that just because you can do one thing, you have one social skill, that you have all other social skills. Like, that's why I've been so, like, reserved in live streaming, because like just because why is this? It's a title because I talked about it at the beginning. Just because I can make videos doesn't mean you can live stream. They're two different skills, and it's like just because Ninja can run a live stream doesn't mean he can interact with a live audience properly. So I think things like Ninja failing at New Year's like a fail. So people remember this. Let's say it's a very short clip.
Music on. We're getting ready.
It's so wet.
It's so wet. It's so awesome. Should we count down? We're gonna get some tunes on.
Absolutely ready?
And 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
Hold up.
I'm gonna get copyright claimed over this. Let me turn that shit down. And like nobody's doing it. Like one person's doing it. I don't think that was the specific. There was some other like super cringe. Was it this? Yeah, no one's doing it. Anyway. I learned all my social skills from American Psycho. Was that the Christian Bale movie? Whereas like, it's all a dream. Sorry to spoil it. But I was very pissed at that movie. Is it royalty free? I don't know. How do I know it's royalty free? So... Not cool. Couldn't stop laughing at the time. What do you think about Elijah Schaffer? I think it's already been revealed. I mean, someone these are stories I can tell because I've actually met Elijah Schaffer in person. Yeah, I mean, I've seen him do stuff. Like when Brittany and I went to an Alex Jones event where he was drunk like 10 minutes into it, like super, super drunk, like 10 minutes into the event. He was being a lot of bit inappropriate with our friend Lila, especially considering he's got a wife. So I can't talk about that. What do you think your greatest skill is? My greatest skill is everybody's greatest skill, which is communication. Something you just don't think about, but like the best skill everyone has is communication. It's also the hardest skill to learn. But the whole Elijah Schaffer thing is why I have a problem with the false Me Too allegations, because there are lots of allegations, especially in these types of industries, that are actually true. And all the dipshits who do false allegations make the real allegations not believable. Thoughts on the shooting? I think I already gave my thoughts on the shooting, where it's like a lot of people on the radical left are like, oh my God, it's so good that these people lost their lives because they're people I disagree with. Those people should be disgusted with themselves. And I'm surprised where it's like encouraging people dying is not like a violation of some of these rules. Like you can get banished into the freaking shadow realm for misgendering somebody, but you can encourage people dying, and like that's fine. I don't know what Sydney Watson's allegations are exactly. I was listening to a little bit of Nick Rekieta last night on that as I was driving home, but I don't know too much about that. I don't know if she was talking about the Blaze or just Elijah, but I have met Elijah. I've never met Sydney. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with Me Too, and Me Too basically ruined it for, just like, by the way, the same thing with the transgender thing. There are plenty of transgender people just living their lives and happy to do what they're doing, and then the freaking activists ruined everything. Where it's like, I was glad being ignored. Now people openly hate me because you guys are assholes, because you guys are going, sir, it's ma'am, and shit like that at restaurants. Socks with scandals, those people should be arrested. I don't know what that means. By the way, let me be more specific. Do I have this? Yeah, it's this one. I don't really know how these two things are related, but this comment here from, by the way, who is a terrorist, a literal terrorist, encouraging violence against Congressman. She was in the video called "This Is a Cult," and that's what crimes this person did. Transgender person, by the way. Thank God Tennessee protected the children from the so-called horrors of drag and transgender affirming care, so they can be shot up at a school by an AR-15 instead. Okay. There was a worse take than that, but I think it got deleted. I forget who it was by. Was it by David Pakman or something like that? It would make sense. David Pakman did some shit on like if it is, I'll let me look on Twitter really quickly. Someone said, what are your thoughts on people drinking soup in a shower, like that episode of Seinfeld? It was David Pakman. Wow, okay. I actually linked it in that video on Twitter. Good old Clifton Duncan. Let's see. Oh, wait, one of those words is a no-no word. Can I put that on stream? Can we say douche on stream? I'm not sure. It's actually listed in the YouTube advertiser-friendly guidelines. Very surprising that there would be a mass shooting at a Christian school, given the lack of prayers often blamed for these horrible events. Is it possible they weren't praying enough correctly despite being at a Christian school? I swear if you said the same thing about one of their guys getting hit, they wouldn't be very, very happy about you saying that, and they'd say it's pretty fucked up to make fun of people who died. And so here's a... I know very, very little about David Pakman except for from this clip. This is... Let's see, can we go to this on YouTube? The context of this clip is that Dr. K is having a conversation with David Pakman. Oh, okay, you can actually say that. Just make sure there's nothing like against rules in his background, because he's a very polarizing guy. But the idea is supposed to be to have a fair debate with somebody who is in disagreement with what David Pakman talks about on his show, and this is how he introduces the guy.
David, do you want to go ahead and kick things off, or?
Let me do that, yeah, just to kind of set the situation here. So basically, I talk to all sorts of people on my show. At some point, Jimmy started calling in, and we know Jimmy is Jimmy from Philly, and he would bring to me different ideas and questions, and I found Jimmy to be an interesting character, a sad character in many ways, a concerning character in some ways as well. I think our rapport...
Dr. K laughing because it's like, hey, that's super nice of you to introduce him like that. Maybe let the audience decide first.
Although Jimmy does regularly say...
Oh, is the volume a little low?
Homophobic things, transphobic.
There you go.
He does regularly say, homophobic things, transphobic things, racist things, etc. And I think there's probably a lot to dig into there about the sort of origins or oranges of that. A couple things I'll mention about, our dialogue with Jimmy. Jimmy has talked to me about his problems with alcohol, and you guys can probably see he's got some bottles there over his right shoulder.
So, already we're starting off this person's a bigot, he's a racist, he's an alcoholic. Holy shit, can we just talk to this guy first before we determine these things? Vosh level arguing skills there.
And that's something I've talked to Jimmy about before.
Oh, wait, that's not an illegal drug, so we can.
Jimmy has talked about how he has a daughter, but at least at one point wasn't allowed to see her because of some physical violence that Jimmy...
Oh, my God. So he's like a child abuser, too?
Was at least I'll say he was accused of, and we'll
why, if he's just accused of it, why is he even throwing it in there?
Leave it to Jimmy to tell us more about the specifics of that. Jimmy was also arrested not long ago because of, as I understand it, chasing a car.
It's a cigarette. That's why it's still on screen. If it was something else, I would not be playing this video because that gets you age restricted. And
with
age restriction is the worst because it just destroys your views.
4 black teenagers down the street while intoxicated, and that led to a sort of legal situation as well for Jimmy.
Yeah, like someone said, they always have to virtue signal before making a point. Yeah, just make sure that you know that this person's a really bad guy before he says anything. I'm surprised that this guy's just sitting there letting, the props to him, just letting him talk.
And that's kind of...
And then not interrupting him, just completely destroying his character.
Jimmy, that I...
Because if a video gets age restricted, then nobody sees it. So that's why.
That I know big picture. And every once in a while, Jimmy will say something that's sort of open, and he seems open to considering other ideas, etc.
It's not even about money in that case. Of course, demonetization sucks, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Age restriction means you did a ton of work on a video, and then nobody will see it whatsoever. That's why you don't want that to happen, because it can't be embedded. You have to sign in to have there's so many things with it. So obviously, if I have to make a point, I'll do it, but I'm not gonna throw it into a video where it doesn't belong. It's gonna be a very, very planned thing to say. This is the video that's going to get age restricted if I'm going to do something like that.
Very quickly, he'll go back into the transphobia, the homophobia, the racism, and that's Jimmy as far as my relationship with him, which has been through the internet and through my show.
One thing really quick. I'm sorry, a slice of pie. I've missed your super chat. I remember reading it, but I guess I didn't read it out loud. Third time, $3.14. Third time. Do you like to read stories, TBOS? I used to read a lot, and now I don't have time. But yes, read a lot when I was younger. But as an adult, it's difficult to actually read stuff because reading takes forever. I'm more apt to listen to audiobooks and stuff like that. So we've had 2 minutes of him just crapping on this guy's character.
Quite the introduction. So I want to just clarify a couple things. So I noticed...
That's him saying, wow, you're a dick. And so as this conversation goes on, we realize that this guy's very, very polarizing, but volunteers his time as a sponsor, has been through some really messed up crap as a kid, and has a lot of points to empathize with. But how do you even do that when you just sit there and shit on the guy for 2 minutes before anybody's even seen who he is? I don't know how I would if I actually watched David's show, like how would I build any respect after he just introduced the guy like that, and not let people make their own judgments before he even spoke. So that's the kind of guy who writes a comment. Oh my God, did I delete it? Or did I go somewhere else? I think it's, there it is. That's the kind of guy who writes a comment like this. Oh, oops. That's making a lot of a douche. I'm a little bit more, less polite on Twitter. Especially when it regards to, like, events where living in California does all the worst things to prevent people from dying. It seems like the most, like, the teachers concealed carry it. That seems really stupid. I don't want someone being in an official job if they haven't had some sort of evidence of training. So I think it's dumb to have the teachers to have expectation for that. Second, like, it just seems like the most reasonable thing to do would be have an armed guard. And I've watched, no, I don't still live in California. I watched so many schools be upgraded and have probably millions of dollars spent putting gates and shit around the school when it would cost significantly less just to hire a couple security guards. And that would deter all of the shootings. But they put these gates like, oh, we don't want them getting in. But then the guy does the most obvious thing, which is just blow the lock off a door. And it's not like this is like a hard thing to think of. Like, when you learn how to clear rooms in the military, like going through and making sure nobody's in there or getting rid of all the bad guys, the first thing you do is blow the lock off the door. And so it doesn't matter what kind of cage you put around. Like, the easiest thing would just, oh, great, now people can't get out. Homeschooling would prevent all of this? Yeah, I guess so. I mean, maybe stop glorifying people who do these things would help too. And, you know, because a lot of them say, well, I did it because I wanted to be on the news. I wanted people to notice me. They're people who have no friends and nobody ever cares about them. But then they do their little trauma event and everybody sees who they are. So maybe stop publicizing these and making such a big deal about these shootings because that actually encourages them. And then stop doing stupid policies that don't really help the situation. I think, honestly, that both sides of the equation don't want to solve this problem. Because you'll have the Democrats say, oh, we need to put cages around schools or ban all firearms, which is stupid. And then you'll have the Republicans suggest that teachers should have guns instead of suggesting the reasonable thing, which is hire a security guard. I wouldn't trust a couple of barely qualified security guys retired. Well, it's not about that. It's about having another firearm on campus that would just prevent it. A lot of people are less willing to commit crimes when they know that they can be hit back, which is the whole purpose of the Second Amendment in the first place. C. Finney, super chat, $50. I enjoy the vids. Didn't know you streamed. I sort of stream. Yeah, there's still people who don't know I have face revealed. I still get that comment a lot in the comment section. Ardon has super chatted $5. Thank you for all the good you do. I was curious if you believe there is a way to mass deprogram the ultra victim culture we have now. I should be doing a stream on Thursday, and we can talk more about that. Aiden Paladin had a very good video on that. And I think, honestly, that's already happening. Was there one I missed? I'm not sure if I missed one. It's been a while. Base takes on firearms. Like, I don't know. I think the most base take on firearms was from Critical last time, where Sneako's like, I got guns, and Critical's like, I got bigger guns. I thought that was really funny. First thing you do in survival camp is don't tell people how many firearms you have, you idiot, because then they know what to bring to the battle. Let's see. David is a grifter. Maybe. I don't know enough about his content to say that. Do I mean cucko? Yeah, I guess so. I still want confirmation. Somebody said he got in the partying scene. It seems like drugs with Sneako. Because people's behavior typically doesn't radically change like that. Unless they're on some sort of mind-altering substance. Somebody that's what somebody asked. What would I do if I was banned on YouTube? Well, I think I said that last time I was streaming. The reason a big reason I started live streaming is because live streaming is big on Rumble. And it's well, also, I mean, we have to worry about things like ChatGPT. If you don't show your face, ChatGPT can basically do your job. So things like that. Sneaker is actually cool. No, I don't like debates in general, and I certainly don't have any interest in like debating someone who's is very likely to use a lot of bad faith ideas and arguments. I don't have the patience for that. Not to say that people shouldn't debate those people ever, but I just don't have the patience for it. Let Sargon of Akkad do something like that. ChatGPT is the new Google. I'm pretty sure ChatGPT is integrated with Google already. Like, if you get monetized on YouTube, you get like this little like customer service line, and there's no way that customer service line actually contains the real people. It's just a chat program because it's like very, very formal. Every single person sounds exactly the same, even though they give you different names. There's no way that that's a real person behind that Google customer service for people who are monetized, and it never does anything. But anytime you ask it a question, it just never gives you an answer. It just basically like placates, makes you think it's doing something. So that's probably a ChatGPT or a ChatGPT-like program. Debates aren't worth it, especially since debates aren't used to contend previous notions, just to win the argument. That's true. That's why I don't like doing the debate with people who are anybody who starts with name calling before they say anything. I have no interest in that. It means that you're not there to actually talk about ideas. You're just there to win a fight. And a lot of times when people ask, debate me, bro, it's like, okay, not only do I have zero interest in this and you do bad faith stuff, but I also have like a much larger following than you. And so not only is nothing getting solved, but I'm bringing people to your channel. So yeah, you lose every single way. Nobody debates in good faith either. Sometimes people do. It's just very, very rare. I think to do a good faith debate, you actually have to have a moderator. I think a lot of the Jubilee videos get pretty close to it. I remember Ben Shapiro being on some debates that were like full of intellectuals, and then they would have a moderator, and people got to say their piece and stuff like that, even though people had like weird takes and stuff like that. Sneaker like cuties because it was showing how. Like, I honestly think going back and forth with videos is much better than a debate, because a lot of times people get interrupted or they don't have time to fully flesh out their argument. So I think in terms of like what's better for the culture and what's better for the narrative is just scripted video content or video content we have a long time to like go over things. Because if I say 60% of people do this and I don't have the study on screen for you to see, then it's hard to be honest about that. Especially like so many people like with the OkCupid study, there were so many problems with that study, and people just say 80% of women blah 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 blah, but don't actually go into the specifics and don't really give you the methodology to go into the specifics of that study so you can actually criticize it properly. And if you're not doing that in debate, then you're not really teaching the audience something, which is the whole purpose of the debate anyway. Certainly, there's like is blood sports the problem? Like there's certainly a combat sort of element to it, but the main element shouldn't be the combat. The main element should be to teach the audience something. But AI is going to make us lonelier and less connected, probably. I mean, or it could be like a good thing. I mean, I said a bunch of things about AI in the previous stream or something like that. I mean, very well, all the people who have zero social skills could feasibly use AI to build those social skills through a chatbot, though I don't know how you would learn the verbal aspect of that. I guess you can have a chatbot talk to you, and then you can go out and talk to people in real life. That could be a positive outcome of AI technology, but I think the more likely thing that's going to happen is that they're just going to become friends with the AI, not go out and then use that to cope. And then use androids to be their friends and sexual partners, as opposed to doing that with real people, where you actually have to have some sort of strength of character to impress to get them to be around you. Let's see, Eugene Phillips 4738, $10 super chat, or tip, I guess that's not necessarily super chat. I've been following Left from Reggio for a while, 7 months. I'm at age 22. What are the best traits to improve in a relationship before marriage? I'm also a huge fan and watch all of your videos on all sites multiple times, even the sites that don't exist anymore. Thank you. Probably in terms of any relationship, it's just problem solving, because there's always going to be, no matter how perfect the person is for you, there's always going to be problems in the relationship, and the ones that succeed, in my opinion, I'm not married, so I can't give like I haven't been married for like 25 years, and this is like the expert's opinion, but from what I've observed in people, the ones who have the best marriages are the ones who are in reciprocal relationships where it's not like one partner's doing all the work, both of them are doing like putting an equal amount of, or relatively equal amount of effort into the relationship. It's not like one person's doing 90% of the work and those doing 10. It's closer to 50-50 or 60-40 or something close to that. And so there's some sort of reciprocity, and then two, there's good conflict resolution skills, which is kind of my problem with debate in general, because you're going to have some sort of debate skill to conflict resolve with a partner. But if you sit there and you only watch bad faith arguments when people disagree, then that's how you're going to disagree in your personal relationships too. Well, if Vosh and David Pakman win the argument by saying you're a dumb alcoholic and you suck, touch grass incel, then that's going to be how you argue, which is basically, it's like if anybody watches Vosh, probably not a good idea to be in a relationship with them, especially if those are their skills in arguing. You're not going to have a very good time there. Let's see. What the hell is Rasheem Carter? Okay, we'll talk about this because I don't know why this is a take, but well, I can see why it's a take. Sneeko liked Cuties because it was showing how the sexualization of children is becoming normal, and at the end of the girls returned to Islam and stopped doing sexual dances, but the movie was hypocritical. Oh, okay, so that's a decent take. In terms of like, yeah, if you didn't use real children, the message, not the actual movie. The movie sucked. It was really boring. It was about as boring as Euphoria. Like there's no plot to the movie. Just things happen and then the story ends. So and there are a lot of scenes where like absolutely nothing is going on. And so that movie would have been great if it wasn't real children. I think they were trying to like they can do messed up things on Euphoria with like high school kids because the actors aren't actually in high school. But when you lower the age demographic to like 11, you can't believably have like a 25-year-old act like an 11-year-old. And so their idea to use actual children in that case was messed up. But if it was animated, then I think things like that are fine. Like I think I mentioned before, Made in Abyss talks about childhood trauma and animates stuff and shows very, very strong visual representations of things that go on. I think that is again, I think it's meant to be disgusting. It's meant to be hard to watch. I personally have trouble watching that show. I think they do a little bit less of it in the next season, so I might continue watching that show. But that's like the perfect medium to show those kinds of horrendous situations that some people have been through, and it kind of like, well, this is why they grew up like that. It's because they experienced horrible things during childhood. Girls Last Tour, I watched like one episode of that and was completely bored. So I think it's gross. It's gross, but it's not like it's a way to get the message out. As long as they do it obviously tastefully, and like they're not just going full on pornographic. They're doing it to sell a message. That's the difference between I think Lolicon and Shotokan versus like an animated show that's trying to talk about child abuse versus something that's pornographizing. Is that making the child abuse pornographic, which is completely disgusting. The Made in Abyss movie is what I'm specifically talking about, where sexual abuse is shown. How many hours of research do you put in each video on average? There's no average. It's different for every video. Sometimes I do. They're very just quick responses, and there's very little research required. Sometimes it's like the last video is at least 20 hours of watching video content, not including the content of Nicole's that I watched. Do I read any manga? If I read manga, it's in Japanese. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. but usually that just means my reading's terrible in Japanese because it takes forever to learn how to read. So usually just kid stuff. I read Gantz in Japanese because Gantz is a pretty easy read for an adult book. The Japanese age of consent is pretty dicey. Yep, yeah, it is. There's a lot of weird shit going on in Japan. This conversation that we were that Sunday night, was that yesterday? Yeah, sort of yesterday. Sunday night, we were talking with Gary Nerdrotic about, like, he's like, I won't watch anime because there's a lot of weird shit with kids. And I was like, yep, that's what. There's certainly a lot of great anime out there that doesn't include that shit, but it's getting way more rampant where they're including kids a little bit too much in these weird situations, especially in like things like isekai anime and stuff like that. But people calling like, oh, it's just art, bro, it's just a body type. Like, we found the pedo. Bryson Gray, is that the rapper guy? I've watched Vinland Saga. Yeah, I think the Japanese age of consent's like 13 or something like that. It's ridiculously low. Like, that is creepy as fuck. I don't think it's for all activity, but it's very low. And just because you're doing one less sexual activity doesn't mean it can be just as harmful to a child as a more sexual activity. In fact, most of the abuse cases, from what I've heard, aren't full on action. It's very small levels of it. So, yeah, there's a lot of creepy stuff going on with Japan and anime that I don't like. Maybe if I learn more Japanese, I can have some influence over that to get rid of some of that shit. Recently watched No Game, No Life. Yep. That's a weird one. There's a lot of weird scenes in that one. I can tell you what my voice is for the 50th fucking time. My voice is different on live streams because when I'm recording, I'm more stressed out because I hate recording. I don't know if I'm like half dyslexic or something like that. It's weird because I have no problem reading things without fucking them up when I'm live streaming. But for some reason, the anxiety levels are high when I record because the lines have to be said and enunciated as perfectly as possible because everything's very well planned. That tension gets represented in my voice, and that's why my voice is different in recorded videos. All right, I'm going to start to wind this down. Any more super chats to read? Did I miss anybody's super chat? Some of the super chats have calmed down a little bit, so I don't have to respond to as much stuff, which makes it a little bit easier. It's a lot easier to not miss super chats these days. Let's see. People really think people really be thinking that they're going to get a beautiful Japanese girlfriend, yet they don't lift and haven't showered in days. Yeah, I guess so. I'm probably going to have to explain it. People are going to ask, where'd you get the name of your channel? I don't know. Should I just make a video? Even if I made a video and I got like 1 million views, people would still ask the same question. I just, I guess bands get asked that question all the time. I can see why they get annoyed with it. Will I ever collab with Britney? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. I don't even know how to put two people on the camera in this, so it'd probably be on her channel. Incest is completely normal for at least a third of the world's population. That's pretty gross. Xbox generated name. Talking about mine, yeah, that's close enough. I remember back when I was a kid, Cartoon Network's website would like let you hold little avatars and crap like that of Goku and have like special outfits and stuff, but they wouldn't let you pick your own name, and they wouldn't let you chat. So they had all these pre-generated names that were really dumb. ZX Nova, $5 super chat. A lot of popular anime on the English side is otaku focused. That's why you never see weird crap. The non-otaku focused anime aren't like that. Yeah, how many of these shows have been translated? Has No Game No Life been translated? I hope not. Yeah, cause I was having a conversation about that with somebody a while ago. I don't know if it was even on stream, where it's like yeah, you only saw this stuff that got translated into America, and even when they translated Dragon Ball, they went with Dragon Ball Z first, probably because Dragon Ball has a lot of weird stuff in it, especially involving a blue-haired 16-year-old character. So yeah, I think we're very, very sheltered in terms of what's actually out there versus what got translated. That video wouldn't do well. That's why I only talk about it in live streams. There's only a specific number of topics that'll do well, and that goes for every channel. Like if I'm a gaming channel, like talking about politics is stupid because those videos won't do well. But if I have like a main premise on a live stream, certainly it can be. I can say my opinion on it if people care. Let's see. Eugene Phillips, $1 super chat. Do you think it's worth spending a ton on an engagement ring / wedding ring, or do you think it's an old customer show-off status? I spent like $300 on the promise ring. I think you need to discuss that with the person that you're with. And if they care, then discuss it. If they don't care, then I don't know. I just don't think 2 months of someone's salary is worth it. I think there are plenty of other things that money could be spent on, but that's something that has to be discussed with the person that you're with. I don't play Skyrim, so I couldn't do a video on that. Person who's asking. Can you send, so 99¢, is that a sticker? Super chat. What's the lowest amount of money you can super chat? Can you super chat 1 cent? I've super chatted 99¢. I always thought like it was like the $2 was the lowest you could super chat. What's my opinion on the TikTok banning? Now this is before the stuff came out about like there's some newer stuff. I haven't looked at it, so I don't know if this is 100% true. But I never like it when the government unites to censor something because there's always some sort of nefarious plan. So when they talk about like, oh, we're going to censor TikTok because of Chinese spying, well, all these companies spy on you. Like, how come I can write a message on Discord in a private chat and then the same thing I was talking about appears on Twitter? It's because they're spying on you. Like Discord owns Twitter, or Discord owns Google, and then Google and Twitter are heavily involved with each other. Like Google translates how you can like, if I type a message in Japanese, Google will translate it for Twitter. So there's some sort of interaction there. Facebook spies on you, Instagram spies on you, Snapchat spies on you, Amazon spies on you. All these companies spy on you. So I don't see how that's the biggest breaching argument for everybody on for bipartisan attacks against TikTok. And one of them was like during like the TikTok tribunal was like, are you saying that, or no, it's like, does TikTok go through your Wi-Fi? Like, these people don't know shit about the internet and they're making policy. The same thing like you don't want people who don't know anything about firearms making policy on firearms. They have like the stupidest takes, like you don't know what a semi-automatic firearm is and you're going to make laws about semi-automatics. Because I've heard many people say stupid shit like, oh yeah, all semi-automatics should be banned, but pistols are okay. Well, a lot of pistols are semi-automatics. So you actually just want to ban everything. Or you're not smart enough to go and look at some of the stuff that's going on, which is why I don't like it when people calling someone stupid or saying someone's ugly or making a comment on their character before you address their argument is as good as telling people to don't do any research. Aren't the libertarians like a bunch of socialists these days? First suit reveal when? What's my first zone up? I'm going to ask that a little bit. I don't know. It's just like, why? This is why. So I've made comments like we need to change how voting works because I think 18-year-olds aren't old enough to vote, especially with the high school education. But you also don't want shit like, you don't want to make it that only people over 60 can vote because people over 60 don't know shit about the internet because they didn't grow up with it. So you want like people who are young enough to be to know about the new issues, but also old enough to like not be easily influenced by dumb shit. So I think 25 should actually be the voting age, but we need some sort of defense against like someone saying vote Biden or vote Trump or vote Hillary, and people just saying, oh, okay, and not really thinking about what their issues are. Like there are too many videos out there of people asking, why do you like this presidential candidate or why do you like this candidate, and them not being able to answer the question, like based on like what policies are they for. If like you can't answer that question, you should not be voting. Let's see. Yeah, it shouldn't be a popularity contest. Then I imagine, of course, there's all sorts of ways to have corruption, but you're probably going to have a lot less corruption if there's more limitations in the area. Like if I don't know, should people on welfare be able to vote? Like, isn't that a conflict of interest? Because then the government can just bribe you to get a vote. Like, oh, if you vote Republican, you're going to get nothing. If you vote Democrat, you're going to get all this free shit. So why wouldn't I vote for the free shit? Super chat me $100 for what? Let's not let anyone vote ever and put me in charge. Owning property, well, I don't know if this is something that is so complicated, it would actually have to be debated. Because if people have suggested, oh, well, let's do a test, and if you pass this test, then you get the ability to vote. Well, who gets to write the test? And that will determine who gets to vote. So, like, I don't think that's a good idea. There has to be something that removes as many conflict of interest as possible, but also will be an indication that you're a responsible person. Your vote means nothing in California, probably. But then there are stupid things like Gavin Newsom was going to almost got recalled and was going to be replaced by Larry Elder, but because you had to, despite how popular Larry Elder was 2 years ago, whenever that happened, 3 years ago maybe, 2.5 years ago, in order to recall Gavin Newsom, you had to do stupid shit like you had to say, I want to recall Gavin Newsom, and then vote for somebody else. And because you had to vote for somebody else, because it was a two-step process and increased friction, you couldn't get enough people to vote to repeal Gavin or to unelect Gavin Newsom and then vote Larry Elder for him to win. And I'm sure they knew that. That's what happens when you get massive populations doing things, especially massive populations of people who are low information. They can't do the two-step process. When you increase friction on mass populations like that, certainly if you're the one who's already in power, you're going to love that, which is probably why. Am I muted? No. Which is probably why they try to get as many people voting as possible, because it's easier to control the narrative like that. It's easier to get low information people when everybody's voting. Whoever can throw a big rock the furthest should be in charge. Maybe. At least they'd be physically fit. And not be some old fat guy. Yeah, I don't know if someone who's like 100 years old should be president. Like, you need to be somewhere in the middle between old people and young people. Let's see. Liftocracy. I already talked about the shooting in Nashville. People dying bad. There you go. And then also you have to think about, like, as people live longer, what's an appropriate age for certain things? Established title scandal, your thoughts. What am I allowed to say versus what I'm not allowed to say? Because when you do sponsored content by somebody, you're under a contract. I will say that the video the same, like, because there was a video that somebody made on established titles like a bajillion views, and the way that person went about it was extremely predatory. It's like, keep in mind that content creators refuse shitloads of sponsors. I refuse almost 99% of sponsorship offers that I get, because most of them are scams. Most of them are like editing programs that just install spyware on your computer, and most of them are things that phone stuff that installs spyware on your phone that costs $40 a month or some shit. And so going through all that, now we've thrown out all the things that are just basically extremely predatory. Then there's like mobile games which are maybe they aren't like the best thing for you, but at least you know what a mobile game is. You know you're going to be basically gambling with aesthetics or like loot crates and stuff like that. You're going to be paying to win. So at least that's out in the open. So I don't like all the sponsorship attacking where it's like these are actually a lot more honest than mainstream media sponsorships, and you're not allowing people to make at least some money so they can actually compete with mainstream media, who's selling you all kinds of pharmaceuticals that harm you, selling you all kinds of scams and all that shit, advertising Burger King and shit like that. This food that's terrible for you, that kills you, or gives you all sorts of diseases. And so during that established titles video, the guy was like, let me compile a list of every single creator who's advertised established titles, and then you can go attack them. And then we'll also, I'm going to put a pinned comment of all, I'm going to put a star by the name of the creators who have disavowed established titles. So it's like, you're an asshole for doing that. So now you're shaming people into not taking sponsors because you don't like that particular sponsor. Oh yeah, let me finish on this, by the way. Finish on a high point. And so now, because I did a single established, by the way, I'm not a fucking lawyer. And so what a lot of these creators are asking is like, oh, let's have your own investigation team to like investigate the quality. Like one of them, because they also did like Kamikoto too. And if, again, this is like, okay, if it's not like the best knife in the world, you're allowed to buy shitty knives. I'm allowed to go to the store and buy a $10 knife. And if I pay $15 for that $10 knife, whoops, too bad. But in order to be able to assess the quality of a Kamikoto knife, I have to be a fucking blacksmith. How am I supposed to do that? And so the big thing with established titles is that I would have to be a lawyer or know Scottish law to know that you can't, or actually believe you can declare yourself a lord, whatever, if you want. But you can't declare yourself a lord or a lady in Scotland based on buying a souvenir plot of land. Now, I personally don't think that's at all why people are buying those plots of land. Like, nobody's going to go to fucking Scotland and look at their plot of land. Nobody cares about that stuff. What the thing that established titles was for is like, hey, this is like a pet rock. This is name a star. This is some sort of gift to give to grandpa, so that you have a dumb gift idea that has a little title and whatever. And so you know what you're buying, and you can actually go and see your plot of land. That's certainly something that was not false advertisement, as far as I'm aware. But they're not buying the product to call themselves a lord or a lady. It's just a stupid gimmick gift. So all the spots are shaming for that and saying that you must disavow and say that they're the worst people in the world because they charged money for a souvenir gift that was obviously a dumb gimmick gift. Even in I told them like, hey, I can't use these images that you want me to use because my viewership isn't in their 90s. Because it's like a picture of like a grandma holding up her established title at Christmas. And that was the sponsor. I was like, hey, these are all cringe. I can't use these. But that's their market demographic, and that market demographic doesn't care. So I think established titles still did what it was supposed to, was just to be an idea for a gift that you give grandpa or grandma, and now you're done for Christmas, or now you're done for the birthday. All right. No, it's obvious that it was a joke, but they said they could legally change your name to a lord. Yeah, maybe they shouldn't have said that. But understand that advertisers are going to advertise products that aren't the best product in the world. Well, I'm keep my mouth shut on that for at least 8 months. But it's like, again, we there's only a certain number of things you can say when you sign with a sponsor, because you legally agree to say like, are you going to pay someone a certain set of money if they're gonna in the next video crap on your sponsorship? No. So everybody has certain NDAs for certain time periods when they do sponsors, which is why I haven't said anything about it. But being that they were I can certainly talk about the false advertising part of it. Let's see. I want to be a Burger King before Lord. Yeah, no one's freaking out over big pharma ads. No one's freaking out over Burger King or McDonald's and them advertising to children. Extremely unhealthy foods. No one cares about soda. No one loses their shit over that. No one loses their shit over boner pills or fat loss pills. So provided that they're at least reasonable about what they're selling, I think it's a decent sponsor. But like there's only so many people who can pay for a product, and then again, you're supposed to be able to compete in part. Like one of the reasons I need sponsorships is because eventually I want to be able to add edited content so that I can have, like, I don't know, internet historian level editing, but that editing is very expensive and I can't afford it unless brands are paying me for the videos. So all this sponsorship attacking and shitting on people for advertising products makes sponsors not want to pay people money. So then you can't get good shit. You can't get like the TV level editing. So how am I supposed to compete with these people if I can't make any money? So that's why my video quality hasn't changed. So I'm at the point where I literally need to be able to afford to pay somebody to up the quality of my videos, and sponsors are just piecing out because of shit like this. Also because the economy's changing, but that's what makes things kind of difficult. Hershey told me that eating chocolate every day is good for me, so I'm going to keep doing that. Yeah. There are so many ways that TV is not good. Like they do some of the worst things, and they very rarely get called out by these people who are trying to ruin sponsorship for YouTubers. Now, certain sponsorships, like there's a time and a place for that, but like something being expensive is not a reason to cancel all sponsorships. I can make you short incident loop music. No, I don't want to do any sort of upgrading in editing quality unless I'm paying a real editor for all these things. So that's really going to depend. So if I start getting regular sponsors, then the quality of the videos can go up. And that will basically be like the entire sponsorship deal is going to be spent on the video. So I'll be making no profit off of that because that's how expensive editing is. Or that's how expensive good editing is. Anyway, people do in fact hate memes. Yeah, but like they're not getting shit on. They're not getting like million view videos shitting on them for it. But like, or the people making those videos don't make those comparisons. I feel like the best quality stuff was back in the day. Maybe. All right, anyway, that's enough for the stream. It's already been 2 hours, so. Why do you have a green screen when you never use it? Because I don't know how to use it, and I'm probably never learn how to use it. I'm at the point where I need someone to just do it for me. I'm getting very boomer levels of internet because I have so much other shit to do that I don't have time to learn things. All right, so I'm still at the point where I have trouble figuring out how to end the damn stream. I think I need to end it from Google. Because I try to end it in Streamlabs, and it doesn't do anything. All right. Maybe a smarter version of me would have this already loaded. Did I miss any super chats? No. All right. I think I end it this way. And goodbye.